Oh, hello. So you clicked on the thumbnail because you wanted to see this workbench, and I'm going to show you everything that I did to make it, as well as some attachments that I bought for it. I think you'll like it. I put a recessed rototable in it because I have a one-car garage and I need to maximize space. Came in really useful on many projects so far. Now, it looks a little beat up because I built this workbench about 2 years ago. So that's why you'll see in the videos this background changed and I added more stuff to my workshop, and it grew over time as well as my skills improved. But this is really my first project. My second project. The first one was this cart to house my CNC computer, and then I built this. So hope you enjoy it. I learned a lot in doing it, and yeah, had fun. So stay tuned.
I want that. So let's go ahead and make that.
I had previously ran the 2x6s you're looking at through a planer and joiner just to square up the corners and get them a little flatter than they were coming from Home Depot. Not sponsored, just telling you where I got them from. When I did this first section of the glue up, I used a plastic squeegee and it worked, but I tried a roller and it worked much better. I recommend this method if you have a bunch of boards, you want to get them glued up and not make as much of a mess as I did using a squeegee. After letting the glue dry for one day, I flattened the top of my CNC and started trenching out an area that ends up being a mortise for the leg to sit in. You'll see later. Now I'm squaring up the bottom side. I'm using my angle grinder to cut pieces that I need to weld to the metal tubing. These pieces will make the square tubing stay in place while it's under the workbench. I'm deburring the edge with a file so I won't get cut later on. I'm sanding the metal and cleaning it to get a nice surface to accept the weld. Now this is the first time I've ever welded anything, so I'm a bit nervous and hoping for the best. I also have a fire extinguisher next to me just for safety. This weld doesn't look pretty, but it is strong. So for my first time, I think it's a W. I'm just grinding the weld to clean it up a little bit. Now again, I'm cleaning up the weld with the angle grinder to make it look better for the underside that no one's going to see. I'm just using a center punch to put a dent into the steel so the drill bit stays in place when I drill the hole. Now the CNC machine is cutting out the area where the router tabletop is going to be recessed into the workbench. Here's the first step in trenching out the dog holes. I use the CNC to make a shallow hole that will guide my drill bit as it completes the rest of the hole. I'm just setting the depth of the drill bit so it doesn't plunge into the CNC tabletop. And now let's make some holes. So the holes I'm drilling out now are to give me reference lines on the back of the top. It's to help me cut out the piece of wood. You'll see in a minute. Here I'm making the guidelines using those holes that I had just drilled out for a reference point. Here I'm using my track saw to cut the chunk of wood that has to be removed so the router can attach to the router table insert. I'm going to finish the corners up with a pull saw. Now I'm just hitting the piece out with a mallet. I'm working on the bottom side now, and I'm using a Forstner bit to widen the dog hole on the bottom so that the holdfast clamp will be able to work. So what I'm doing now is creating a way for me to adjust the router table after it's in place. First, I'm creating guidelines to mark out the point where I need to drill for the 1/4 bolt to go through, and I'm going to hold it in place with a 1/4 5/16 T-nut. So I'm putting a threaded 1/4 bolt through a 1/4 5/16 T-nut. To prevent the T-nut from backing out from the force being applied from the rudder top, I'm making some metal plates to go over the T-nut, and I'm going to secure them to the workbench using screws. I didn't show it, but I cut them into smaller pieces using the angle grinder. When I tested the fit, it ended up being a little too snug, so I had to sand it down a bit on the edges. I'm running the pieces of the legs through a thickness planer so that they can have a better glow up. For anyone wanting to hear the nice sounds of the planer, I got you. Now I'm securing the leg boards in the side position so I can use the thickness planer to batch out a bunch of them at the same time. I had to notch out an area in the wood that the welding on the metal was going to come in contact with before being able to sit all the way down into the channel. Now it's time to put the legs on the workbench. I glued one leg into each trenched out area, then glued and screwed one board to each side of that leg. So each leg is a total thickness of 3 boards. As you can see, I already put 2 boards on the skirt. Now I'm working on the side of the skirt. After this, the legs will be nice and stiff. I'm using a 90-degree corner clamp to rest the board on until I brad nail it temporarily to hold it in place. Then I screw it to secure it to the other board. I'm adding some supports to the middle of the skirt so when I put the shelf on it, it'll be able to hold more weight and be more sturdy. Here's the way I set it up to secure it in place. I added some casters that can handle a good amount of weight. Then I drilled some pilot holes. Now it's time to secure it in place with the screws. I added some L brackets to the legs so that the tenon isn't the only thing keeping the leg from wobbling. I'm putting some plastic caps on top of the 1/4 screws. In order to do this, first I have to drill a hole big enough for them to fit down into. The reason for the caps is so the screw doesn't mock up the underside of the rotor table when I adjust it. So now let me explain what I put the metal tubing in the table for. The hollow tubing is for a pull-out extension adapter that I didn't make yet because I haven't needed it, but I wanted to have it for future capabilities. Here's the welding cot that gave me the idea to add it to this bench. It's a cool build and I wanted to put a link in the description so that you can check it out. Here are some of the accessories I bought to help me with my projects. The holdfast clamp, I bought that from Etsy. I think I paid around $36 for it at the time, but this is going back over a year ago. The Hondu planing stop and some bench dogs. I just wanted some flexibility when I came to different like clamping methods. To be honest, I haven't used the Hondu planing stops because I haven't planed anything. I plan on maybe incorporating that device with my CNC machine to square things up. That's it for this build. I hope it helps you with your build. And if it's not too much to ask, would you hit that subscribe and like button so YouTube will send me
$5 million in cash.
Thanks for checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one.